Will you join me in welcoming Dr. Terrence Roberts?
I am very proud to be here, and I'd like to give thanks to all those who are program organizers and those who were responsible for making it possible for me to be here. And I'd like to say a special thank you to all of you who were with us during that time, those of you who actually lived through the chaos in Little Rock, wherever you were in the universe, because many of you offered prayer, you offered up words of support. You gave us encouragement and sent those words through cyberspace to us. We received them. Without that support, I doubt seriously if we would have survived that ordeal. I came into the universe in 1941, and I came charging down the vaginal canal and exited, thinking that I would find a group of people who were welcoming, who wanted to see me, who knew my name. But what I found instead was a group of people who gave me a message that said, boy, there's something terribly wrong with you. You have entered our society clothed in black skin, and that is a problem. The color is white. Now, somehow I had failed to get the memo. Not that that would have helped. But I was shocked, to say the least. And as soon as I was able to verbalize my thoughts, I began to question people. What is going on? And many of those voices in response said, boy, keep your mouth closed. Don't rock the boat. Don't cause trouble. It's the law of the land. It's the way it is. Deal with it. Now, that was impossible for me. There was something about my genetic endowment, my personality, that said there's no way on earth I can just deal with it. And so I decided to find out on my own. And I started to do research. Everywhere I could find information, I would look for it. I would gather it. And finally, by age 9, I had it. Lights came on. I said to myself, aha, this is it. White people are crazy. That was that. Well, these are the people in charge, and this is what they have brought. But after a time, it occurred to me that there were no ongoing signs of mental illness. But what there was this ongoing tension for making decisions predicated upon things racial. All decisions in my universe had a racial component, where you could live, where you could go to school, if you could go to school, where you could work, if you could get a job, whether you qualified for a bank loan, who you could marry, where you could go, where you could eat, whether you could sit down in the establishment or not. All of these things had a racial component. It was overwhelming. But I've realized, because of the way things were, and I as an individual, especially a young person, without any means to do anything, I had to accommodate. And so I dutifully learned the rules of segregation, and I followed them. I learned those rules because had I not learned them, I may have been killed. And that was brought home to me a little later in my life when Emmett Till met his fate down in Money, Mississippi. Because Emmett Till and I were the exact same age. What would stop those same forces from crossing the border? Arkansas is contiguous to Mississippi. What would have stopped them from coming over and doing the same thing to me? And so, out of fear, I began to pace myself according to these rules until my 13th summer. And it was in that year, that summer, when I had an epiphany. I had gone to the Crystal Burger, which was a local hamburger joint in Little Rock, a white-owned establishment that made accommodations for black customers. We could enter the front door, wonder of wonders. But there was a very circumscribed area where we had to stand, order our food to go. We could not eat the food in the Crystal Burger. And I had gone there many times and ordered that food. On this particular day, no different from any other, I made my order, burger, fries, malt, and jumped up on one of the stools to wait. Now that was a cardinal sin, and I don't know to this day, I can't explain to you what prompted me to sit on that stool, except perhaps it was just a 13-year-old kind of thing to do. But in that moment of violation, everything stopped in the Crystal Burger. It was as if someone had pushed pause on the VCR. Hamburgers in mid-flip. And all the heads turned to me, and the message, although it was nonverbal, was unmistakable. The message was, boy, you better get some sense in your head. And what I did that morning was to cancel my order and to run, literally run out of that place, feeling something that even today I can hardly explain to you because the feelings were so bizarre. There was a mixture of anger and fear and frustration and sadness and powerlessness. I had been sent out of that place, swatted away like one of the flies circling around in the Crystal Burger. And I knew at that moment that there was no way on earth I could continue to follow the rules of segregation. And I realized also in that same instant that because I had reached that point, I was in extreme danger. Because I would not be tolerated with this new mindset. I would be seen as one of those people who were violating the social, the cultural, the rules of living in Little Rock, Arkansas. You know, for a long time I used to think Little Rock was some sort of an aberration. That perhaps outside Little Rock people were actually sane. Maybe I should move to Muskegon. But as I also became old enough and able to ambulate beyond the confines of Little Rock, what I discovered was Little Rock was simply a microcosm of the world. It was frightening. But so I resolved to do what I could. That's what led me to join this group that you know as the Little Rock Nine.